Conservative Party's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Too early to say it's been killed off.
Why does Sadiq Khan annoy so many people?
So there's been polling this week that showed Keir Starmer was at his lowest in terms of popularity. He's just over a year in. I mean, this is really not good stuff.
Welcome to Friday's edition of the Daily Expresso. I'm JJ Anisiobi, and this is Daily Express Associate Editor Sam Lister. It's Friday, and that means one thing. Today is all about you, the loyal Express reader, viewer, and listener. Now, we've gone through all of your comments and letters, and we want to read some of the best ones out. And of course, get stuck into things that have been on your mind. Sam, before we get stuck into that, how are you doing?
I'm all right, you?
I am.
It's been a busy week.
It's been a busy month for us.
It has, but we're getting there.
We are getting there. We've got so much to get through. First comment I want to talk through is from Clarence42. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Clarence asked, does anyone know the intro music to this broadcast? That's from Trinidad and Tobago.
Wow.
Amazing. We've got viewers, listeners from Trinidad and Tobago. Well, yeah, we have the answer, actually, mate. It's called Street Rev Anthem, and it's by AO. And I do love the tune.
It's great.
It's
gets you fired up, doesn't it?
It's on my gym playlist now.
And what's your gym routine? Boxing?
Mostly just sat at the bar, drinking tequila, thinking I'll go to the gym in a minute. I'll go next week.
Posh gym.
I was also particularly pleased to receive this letter from Stephen Michael McLean. It's a long one, this. Hi. I've been watching the Daily Expresso from its inception. It's a great way to stay abreast of UK political news. Monday's programme with Esther Kraku was particularly sharp and on target, so a shout out to her as well. Well, thank you, Mr.
That's
McLean.
really lovely. Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's wonderful. And we want to hear from all of you. We want to hear from all of you and more of you. So make sure you put in your questions. Comments are great too, but any questions you have for us, make sure you put those in the comments box too. Another message here from Henry Matisse. I like JJ Anisiobi. Good start. A refreshing personality and a nice jazz voice. Nice. He has a very good sense of humour. His boss is a bit too BBC. For those of you who don't know this, Sam is actually my boss. I call her Gaffer. She hates it, but that's my boss. So, Gaffer.
Right, Henry Matisse. Just bear with me while I just remove the dagger from my heart.
I've never heard anyone describe you as a bit too BBC.
It's a first.
It is.
Get back in touch, Henry, and tell us why you think I'm too BBC. With these flat vowels, would they let me? Actually, no, they probably would nowadays.
They love it now.
Yeah, they love it. You've probably got a point. Fair enough.
The huge story this week was, of course, Trump's unprecedented second state visit to the UK. Red carpet was rolled out, and despite the backdrop of Mandelson's sordid comms with Epstein and disastrous opinion polls for Starmer and Labour, the visit overall went pretty well, pretty good. In yesterday's joint press conference, Trump said the UK and US have an unbreakable bond and described the country's relationship as priceless. He even went as far as calling Keir Starmer a tough negotiator. Lies. That's high praise indeed from the man who wrote The Art of the Deal. It's gone very well, I'll admit, but I've never seen Trump be so nice to a dying animal before. This is insane.
Well, it's like nobody likes to kick puppies, do they? I mean, you know, it's not a fair fight, is it?
Depends how much they're barking, to be honest, Sam.
I think it's interesting because it's gone as well as Keir Starmer could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah.
That press conference was really tightly controlled. I mean, they even called The Economist magazine to ask a question. It's not even a daily news organisation. I mean, they were carefully choosing who they were picking. They picked the BBC, Henry Matisse, you'll be on that one. And they picked The Sun. Obviously, The Sun backed them at the general election. And then they picked The Economist. So they were the three questions from the British side of the press pack. So there was no kind of real rabble rouser in that group. They've been quite tightly orchestrated. That said, and I think President Trump clearly, he's been really, really thrilled with this visit. There is no doubt about that. He absolutely adores the king. He clearly adores Princess Kate. You know, this is all his dreams come true. He's had a wonderful time and great, and I'm glad that's happened. But I think, the press conference wasn't the disaster it could have been, but that said, I mean, it was pretty humiliating for Keir Starmer to have to stand there while Donald Trump was asked, you know, can you give him some advice on how to deal with illegal migration? And then he stood there and he said, you know, you need to get the military involved. He said, you know, illegal migration has destroyed our country from within. We're getting people who came here illegally and we are deporting them. And you need to do whatever's kind of means necessary, really. And it, you know, he kind of did it in a very polite way, but really, essentially, that was the message. He was giving Keir Starmer a lesson on how to deal with this problem that he's clearly failing on.
At the beginning of the week, we hypothesised that Trump would go easy on Starmer, and he has done. Fair enough, he gave him some advice about immigration, but saying that he's a tough negotiator, no, he's not. I like Trump, but Trump, you're a liar. There's nothing tough about Starmer. He is floundering. Everyone is saying to me, he's toast, he's out soon. And yet Trump was just like, oh, yeah, no, what a wonderful guy. I really love it in this country. Yeah,
because Starmer's doing everything he wants. Like why would he say, "Oh yeah, this guy's terrible. He's terrible." It's like, yeah, he's really. Oh, you're a real tough guy. You are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's Starmer's giving him everything he wants, which is clearly this unprecedented second state visit. Keir Starmer is being incredibly deferential. Why would he not praise him? He's got him where he wants him, hasn't he?
Has Trump grown up? Is this a new Trump? Are we seeing now?
I think that there is a clear distinction, isn't there, between first-term Trump and second-term Trump. And the distinction is actually the world takes Trump seriously this time round in a way it didn't the first time. Yeah. Everyone thought it was like some kind of aberration that the American people had gone mad. And actually, they voted him in again. Mm-hmm. And so the world has had to listen to that. And I think that's the difference.
We had lots of comments about this Trump visit from all over the world. This is one from one of our American viewers that warmed my cockles. Thank you, President Trump, for being the best ambassador to Britain for our great country, the USA. Queen Elizabeth is looking down and smiling. That's lovely, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's great.
Salute to you, whoever sent that in. Another comment. Whatever you think of President Trump, at least he is cleaning up America, whilst our PM is floundering. Well, I think President Trump's doing a very good job in the US personally, and our Prime Minister is floundering. Never a truer word said.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think Trump has listened to the people who voted him in, and he is delivering on what he promised those people, and that's not what's happening with Keir Starmer.
Now, after the Express brought you a huge expose at the start of the week, revealing Sadiq Khan's abject failure to listen to grooming gang whistleblowers, plus his incendiary comments aimed at derailing Trump's state visit, there has been no shortage of fiery comments from you lot about the London Mayor. One of you said, he has failed beyond imagining. You couldn't make it up. If any one of us behaved like he does or failed as much as he has, we wouldn't have our jobs. Ouch. Another said, deeply embarrassing individual. His position is untenable. Go now. Well, I'm glad to see that no one made any jokes about him being short or being a little man, because that would be petty, and we don't do petty on this show. But I didn't like his comments about Trump. You know he's in the country. Khan, you're supposed to be a Labour man. You know this is going to put your leader Starmer in a difficult position if these comments are made to Trump, and he's still far enough saying he's the reason that the far right is on the rise and he's unleashed all of this stuff. Just shut up. Just for this visit, just be on your best behaviour and shut up.
Well, for Starmer, with friends like that, who needs enemies? It's just it really was a deliberate and determined attempt to not only try and embarrass the visiting president, but particularly to embarrass his own prime minister.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly there are power struggles going on in the Labour Party. Sadiq Khan has delusions of grandeur, perhaps in that respect. It's that kind of prince over the water thing. But nobody's talking about him as a potential leadership candidate. No. I mean, he can go in write in The Guardian all he likes about President Trump, but is that going to win him any fans? I'm not sure it will. And it just shows his political immaturity. What is he in politics to do? Is he there to serve the people of London? Or is he there just to kind of, inflate his own ego? And I think that the piece this week showed it was the latter.
Why does Sadiq Khan annoy so many people? What do you think? I've got my own reasons as to why he annoys me. I'll get into those later. But why do you think he annoys so many people?
Well, clearly he has his own base, doesn't he? He does. Yeah. And he doesn't annoy them. It's perfectly legitimate for him to take the position he takes. But is it sensible? Is it wise? Is it grown-up politics? No, it isn't. It's a bit student politics, and I think that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So his supporters are, purists. This kind of, you've got to pass this kind of purity test in your philosophy and your actions. But most of the rest of us are realists, and we know that every day is a compromise. and that is real life. And I think that's why it's so annoying. It does smack of kind of some kind of A-level sixth form debating situation rather than being mayor of our great city.
He annoys me because of the low traffic neighbourhoods.
Oh, they're
everywhere.
Disaster.
He's pushed traffic onto main roads. So now when I do the school run in the morning, it takes half an hour instead of taking 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's so many council estates and council blocks along the main roads where I live. So now the poorest people who he's trying to protect are now getting much more smog from car fumes than they would have done previously. I just,
Who was ever asked about that? No one was ever asked.
No one was asked.
This goes to the problem with all, I would say local councils, the city, City Hall, whatever, up and down this country. We pay our council tax, and then we get these politicians who impose things on us that none of us have ever agreed to.
Yeah.
We've never been asked about. We've never been consulted on. Who are they there to serve? Are they there to serve us, the people who are actually paying their wages, or are they there just to do whatever the hell they fancy doing that week? Imposing LTNs on people is just really outrageous.
It is. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But tell me who you think is more unpopular, Khan or Starmer? Put it in the comments and tell me why you think that person is more unpopular. Sam, who do you think is more popular right now?
Oh wow, it's tricky, that, isn't it? I think it's there's been polling this week that showed Keir Starmer is at his lowest in terms of popularity, and he's just over a year in. I mean, this is really not good stuff.
Yeah.
I think what I thought was quite interesting was that he was booed at a football match, and they did a chant which I won't repeat because it's slightly rude, but you can imagine it was a fruity chant, shall we say. But that was a spontaneous chant about the Prime Minister, and I don't remember football fans bothering to chant about how much they hate the Prime Minister before. I think the closest we had was when George Osborne was booed at the Olympics, and he just kind of had to stand there and laugh because what else could you do? But Keir Starmer's supposed to be a man of the people. He is a big football fan. He's made a lot of play of going there in his middle-aged man anorak. His trainers, and look at me, I'm just a normal everyday Joe down at the footy, and then they loathe him. They clearly loathe him. So. I think probably Starmer.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. By the way, great piece of journalism by the Express on the expose with the whistleblowers about grooming gangs in London. This is what the Express is known for. This is what we do, isn't it?
Yeah. Our investigations editor, Zach Garner-Perkis, he is relentless on these things. And I can share with you that we've got another story coming up. I think probably around Sunday, Monday, we will release that, and that will be a big follow-up to the story that we ran this week on the scale of grooming gangs. And we had a whistleblower, John Wedger, who was a former Met copper. He said it had been on an industrial scale in the city for 20 years. Obviously, Sadiq Khan, we've all seen that footage of him avoiding the question, evading any kind of scrutiny on this issue. So I think this is something that we really want to keep at, because we know it's clearly London cannot have escaped this. It would be very odd for only northern towns to have had this issue going on. It would just, even a little bit of curiosity would make you think, actually, is this something we need to look at? And the notes that John Wedger produced from back in the day when he was in the force show that it has been a problem for a long time. And so we're very, very determined to keep on at this.
Well, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay abreast of all of the content we have coming up. Now, with Labour imploding over the last couple of weeks, both the Tories and Reform have been licking their lips. Quite a lot of you have been debating in the comments who's better placed to capitalise on Starmer's shambles. One of you said Tories had 14 years to do something, Labour had 14 years to think of something. No one thought or did anything. Then along comes Reform. Stephen Bowers said, I do worry that these defections could be desperate people trying to save their careers and at worst sleepers to cause trouble in the future. Great if they are serious people that really want to make a new future and a better one for our country. Now, our Monday guest, Belinda DeLucy, she has similar worries that maybe there's going to be too many Tories defecting across into Reform. I think that they've got too many now. I think they need to stop right now, because I'm already seeing Labour putting up cute little posts on Instagram with a Reform badge, and it peels away. You can see the Conservative logo behind it. This is a serious problem, I think, for Farage.
Yeah, I think it is a big problem. I think he admits this himself. I mean, you asked him about this, didn't you? How many Tories is too many Tories? And he essentially said it's a case-by-case basis. We want people who can bring something to the party, and whether that's somebody with governmental experience, because obviously they're going to need somebody who knows how to operate in that system. So they are going to have to bring over some people, but also he wants to bring in people from business, people from industry, people with experience of, life.
Yeah.
But just the numbers are huge. We discussed this last week, that the number of people they need to find if they are going to form a government at the next election is really quite enormous. And so it does mean the Tory party is an obvious place to poach people from. And obviously a lot of Conservatives lost their seat at the last election. A lot of them felt like they never really got the chance to achieve what they wanted to achieve. A lot of them actually share very similar values to Reform, and then are thinking, well, why would I not make that leap?
Yeah.
But I think, there is a long way to go yet. The Conservative Party obviously is in the doldrums in the polls at the moment, but as polling day kind of closes in on us, and that is, 3 or 4 years' time, people reflect a little bit more then on actually how would this government look? Who are the people who would be in the Home Office? Who's going to be our Foreign Secretary? All those kind of things. And so, he's got quite a job to do to find some big figures who can do that, who aren't all drawn from the Conservative Party.
Yeah. Well, people are saying the Tories are done for. Mr. Kruger says Conservatives are dead, but Conservatism is not. Fine. Can they bounce back? Is there any chance that actually Kemi Badenoch can stir up some muster and get them competitive again and actually appearing more like the official opposition?
They need to do a lot of work to modernise their operations. Like when we went to the Reform offices, we saw how kind of glitzy and modern it was, and they've got their own studio and they've got their own press conference room, and they've got all these kind of enthusiastic young people who are desperate to kind of win power. And actually that enthusiasm is more important than anything. They need to find some young people who have got some enthusiasm, who can help drive this forward, who can modernise the party. But I don't think it's over yet. It's too early to say that. The Conservative Party's been around a long time. Yeah. Too early to say it's been killed off. Look at Labour in the 80s, and it came back in the 90s, and this thing is cyclical. But obviously we're in a very different position now, where there are more parties to choose from that have actually a bigger base than we've ever had before. But I wouldn't predict them being dead just yet.
Okay, well, another comment here for you. Steve Hardy said, I was swaying towards Reform, but I think they would be a disaster in all areas except immigration. Unfortunately, I don't think that on its own is enough for me. But I have to say, Kemi Badenoch has performed extremely well in opposition, and she has won my Tory vote back from the clutches of Reform. I think that's quite surprising. I think more recently, Kemi has performed much better.
Yeah.
I think she had a tough start, and I would often watch PMQs and think, oh, she's not gone for the killer blow there. Maybe she's changed some of the people around her, some of her scriptwriters, some of her advisors, but I'd say the last month or so, she's really been hammering Starmer.
Yeah, he's given her some good opportunities, to be honest.
Yeah.
I wonder how much it is that, he's failing or she's succeeding. But she has definitely got better. That is true. I think overall, though, can they come back as a party? They need to work out what they are for. Obviously, as we know, people are still open-minded about it. They are a bit worried about Nigel Farage and his approach to welfare. Now, at the Reform Party conference, he did say he wanted to cut that welfare bill, but he has also said he would remove the 2-child benefit cap.
Yeah.
Actually, our readers, our viewers, our listeners really, really are in favour of that cap, because they think, why should people who have chosen to restrict how many kids they have pay for those who have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids? So I think that worries some people, that they think, oh, actually, I thought you were a better version of the Tories, but actually you're something different. So anybody who's a bit fiscally conservative, they want to keep a bit of a tighter, they want to cut spending, basically, top and bottom of it. They want to cut spending, they want to cut welfare. We'll be just slightly cautious about Reform, I think. Again, we've got a long way to go. Let's see.
We do. Well, Sam, thank you very much for joining me, boss. Pleasure. And please be less BBC in future.
We'll try. I'll try.
Well, that is it for this week. Please do keep on asking your questions. And as always, let us know what you want on the show and what stories you want us to cover in more detail. Thank you for watching the Daily Expresso. Join us again on Monday where we will get stuck into the headlines once again. Bye-bye.